Okay, so this part's going to be a little bit interactive because what we're actually going to do, we are going to train our AI ourselves right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, do you want me to use AI to create an AI business, or do one of you guys want to come off mute and tell us about your business and we can create an AI sales bot for your business? If you want to come off mute and make it for your business, be the first one to type in. All right, Brady's going to do it. All right, Brady, come off mute.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, Brady?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Where are you from in this world?
I am in Colorado, moving to Washington in a week. So I actually just switched my business model around, so I don't have to, be a general marketing guy anymore. So I'm super pumped to be here and listen to this.
Brady, did you say Washington?
Yeah, I'm moving to Washington in a week.
Where at?
I'm going to Whidbey Island, so a little bit west of Seattle.
Yeah, I grew up I'm in Washington right now in a little town. I used to go to soccer camp on Whidbey Island.
Heck yeah, man. Well, you guys are some smart people. We'll have to connect.
we're only a couple hours away, man. So we definitely can.
All right, Brady. Let's get into it. What's your company name?
Yeah, so Fitness Studio Leads, and what we're offering is lead generation and AI appointment booking. So those are the two services that we're doing.
Okay, let's. Okay, if you wanted to give me we want to have so this is all, just so you know, guys, this form is going to be what teaches our bot. This is going to be what trains our bot to do what we want, to say what we want, to have the information that it needs to know in order to be reasonably intelligent. So I want you to give me a decent description of like, what do you do? What do you specialize in?
Yeah, absolutely. So most fitness studios have sales teams or front desk staff that are trying to follow up with their leads as quickly as possible. Most gyms are failing with their speed to lead. So we're really focusing on improving speed to lead, improving lead follow-up over a 7 to 14-day period, helping them actually convert leads into paying members. And then we also, like I said, we create the video advertisements for the lead generation campaigns through Facebook and Instagram.
Well, I mean, Adam's good at typing, but he's not that fast.
Sorry, yeah,
I think I caught most of it. We also create video advertising for funnels, Facebook and YouTube, along with video funnels to help sell memberships to clients. Okay, so I'm going to just make it pretty basic. We're going to go to the next step here. What is your AI assistant's name?
Autobot, capital O-T-T-O-B-O-T.
O-T-T-O?
Yep.
B-O-T.
B-O-T. Bot. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is our initial message. So the whole concept behind this message right here is that they've got to opt in from somewhere, right? Often what we have to do, especially with A2P stuff coming out now, we need to make sure that we confirm that we're speaking to the right person. So this is kind of an area where we can get a little bit flexible. So it says, hi, contact name. We just saw that you opted in from X. Where are your gyms getting most of their leads? Or where are you getting most of your leads?
Yep. I'm getting leads from email marketing and buying lists, cold calls. I have a sales guy, and then most of the gyms are getting leads from Facebook.
Okay. So let's say we saw that you opted in on one of our Facebook ads. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Do you have I'm just going to put in my calendar link for the sake of this, but that is a calendar link, which is very important for your AI assistant, because at the end of the day, we want them to ask some qualifying questions and then get people on the calendar. So, okay, cool. Now, if you were to ask,
I'm sorry, real quick question. Does that calendar, it can be a calendar link from the Go High Level link? Does it have to be like a Google Calendar?
It's the
Could
Go
be-
High Level calendar. It can be
ours
anything
by default
technically.
is the Go High Level calendar, but at the end of the
Okay.
day, with this system, it doesn't matter. Obviously, I'm a High Level fanboy, so I would keep everything in High Level if you can.
I know some people use Calendly. If you do use that, just put that link.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Now your AI sales assistant is an appointment setter. Now, what are 4 qualifying questions, one at a time, because I'm not that fast at typing, that you want to ask your prospects that opt in from Facebook?
Are you currently running ads on Facebook or YouTube?
Okay.
Can you book appointments during off hours?
Okay.
Do you currently have a manual sales process with sales staff? I did that question out of order, sorry.
Okay. So do you want me to flip those?
Yep, flip those. And actually, I'm going to make the second question. How do you currently generate the majority of your leads?
Okay. We're going to go cut, paste, cut, paste. Okay.
And then
Next.
switch question 3 and 4. It doesn't matter.
We're just gonna go with that.
Yeah,
okay. Now this is the part of the sales bot where we are going to provide the AI frequently asked questions that your customers might have. Okay, so we're going to ask a question and we're going to provide an answer. So the reason that we're doing all of this, guys, is we have developed this system to be used for any niche, any industry. The way that we've developed the prompting uses high level to create the message, to create the prompts. And so this can actually be used. We last night, Brendan and I were playing around with this, and we created a fictitious business using Chat GPT called Luminous Grounds, and it was an AI run coffee company that was able to use AR and things like that to track different parcels where the coffee beans came from. Like, it created this entire business for us, and we plugged it in and we tested it, and it just worked. And so this is what this is all about. But part of that is educating your AI so that you know that it knows what you do. So what is one frequently asked question that somebody might ask your business?
I keep getting asked, does AI actually work? That's what I'm getting on these calls.
Okay, and what's your answer to that? What would you tell somebody?
Yeah, so what I've been saying is that AI doesn't run campaigns. We have people that leverage AI to run campaigns. So from that respect, yes, AI works very effectively, but it still requires human intervention to use setup.
It's all about the prompting.
It's all about the prompting, exactly.
If you don't get the wording correct, it can throw the entire system off. That's why, I mean, we spent hours working on this.
That's why I'm in this webinar, because me too, but I don't think I got as far as you guys.
Okay, what's another question? What's another question that gets asked often to your business?
Do I have to be running ads in order to use your AI system?
And what's your answer to that?
Yes, you have to have some sort of lead generation actively going on. Now, quick question, can I have the bot ask the individual a question? So like, if they go down this path, can the bot ask the person, why aren't you running ads, or is that not possible?
We might be able to.
We
might be able to add it. We might be able to add it to this prompt here.
Okay, cool.
Some sort of lead gen to actively going on in order to drive traffic to your AI bot. What did I do? Jonathan, how did How did you draw on my screen?
Yeah, don't do that.
That was my bad, sorry.
Every time I write newsletter, I forget the S.
My wife does the same thing. She'll tell me she's watching the new, and I'm like, you mean news? Oh yeah. Don't forget to correct a misspelling you have.
Okay, what is it?
Some form of lead generation, you put 4.
Cool. Thank you. Now, Brendan is our prompt engineer and really comes up with all this stuff. And he's the one that is probably going to cover a lot of why we do the prompts the way that we do. So when he says change something, I change it because we've gone through this a ton of times. Okay, third question. We're almost done. Home stretch.
All right. What kind of results can I expect?
And what do you say to that?
This is where we throw in our irresistible offer, and we say we can guarantee you a minute. We'll get you 10 new gym members in your first 30 days, or we'll work for free. Is that an answer we can put in there? And we usually say between 10 and 30, so 10 plus, whatever, something like that.
10 to 30 new gym members. Our results speak for themselves. And we make it as risk-free as possible for your company to make more sales. Cool. All right, let's go and submit that. Now what that does, this is now what drives the engine of the AI chatbot. Okay, so these are all of the answers that we just gave it are built into our prompting so that you can do this, like I said, for any business. And by the way, guys, this little image right here, AI, I didn't make that. I put it in the funnel, used AI content generator, made an image. And there you go, off to the races. So how do we do it? Again, guys, I'm going to show you guys how, and then you guys get to decide if you want to spend the 60 hours it took Brendan and I to put all this stuff together and build it yourself, or if at the end of this, small form for, oh yeah, Chris just mentioned it. Brendan already did. We already fixed it, I think. Yeah, so we're going to show you guys how to do all of this. And then at the end of the day, if you want to spend the time to do it yourself, go right ahead. We will basically be offering you this entire setup at the end of this training. So let's go and look to see what that actually did. So we've got a bunch of custom values here, and it did not update the custom values. Did I turn that workflow off? Because that would suck. I think it must have.
You just waste all that.
I just wasted a good 10 minutes of time. Where is AI assistant updates? It's in draft mode, guys. That doesn't help you at all. Okay, guys, we're going.
You submitted, hold on. You submitted the form. The form did update the answers.
That's true.
Contact. So we're just going to copy and paste real fast, guys.
No, we're not.
What? Okay.
I'm just going to put me through this and it's going to update all the values.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to copy and paste by using a workflow.
Yeah. So what I did, I was the one who answered all of those questions. So therefore, all of the answers to those questions are tied to my contact custom fields. Now I can just throw myself back in here and it will update all of the values. So what this does is it takes that survey that we just filled out, which uses custom fields. Does everybody know the difference between custom fields and custom values? One's in the chat if you know, two's in the chat if you're not sure. We've got a 1 and a 2. That's interesting. A 12. You sort of know. Okay, I'm going to really quickly glance over this. Okay, custom value is a system-wide setting that can be used for sending emails with specific information to the leads. It can be used for assigning your a specific email address to a contact or to a client. It can have specific information in it that is, again, system-wide. So think about values as the agency owner or the business owner is sending something via a custom value, a custom field can change. And a custom field is also going to be directly tied to a contact, which is why, because I didn't have this workflow in publish and I had it in draft, I'm still able to go through this because the custom fields from the survey that we just filled out are tied to my contact. Okay, so they're consistent. They're always going to be on my contact. So I was able to send myself through and update all of the custom values right here. Okay.
I like how Jonathan put it. So values versus fields is constants versus a variable.
Cool. So now that we've done that, let's go back and we're going to check the custom values. So again, these values are going to be consistent across all outbound messaging, and we use them for our AI prompting. Okay, but there's a gotcha, and you're going to have to learn this gotcha because it's important depending on what platform you want to use. So here's all of the answers that we just gave it, right? These are all now system-wide values that we can use to prompt our AI. Okay. All right. Now, in this, the reason that this took us so bloody long to actually build and develop, I think it's about 30 hours each between Brendan and I to put this all together, is because we wanted to have a single system that could leverage native high-level Chat GPT AI. We wanted to leverage Pabbly because it's basically free once you've purchased it. And we also wanted to leverage Zapier, and we wanted to figure out what's the best one, which one works the best. And we're going to talk to you about that a little bit here as well, because that's also super, super important, depending on your use case that you actually want to get going with. So let's go into contacts, and let's go into me. Actually, no, let's not go into me. I'm going to delete me, and we're going to start fresh. Brendan, while I'm doing this, can you please go in and confirm that we're using the good one? You know what I mean? The best one?
It's still on from last night.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to re-add my contact information back in here. We're going to literally start from scratch. So I am a brand new person. Adam at.
Yeah.
I'm a lead. I'm good. Save. Now, I was told the other day that if you do what I just did, sometimes it messes up the text messaging. So if it does, I'm going to go back to you, Brendan, because we've also been testing with you. We are going to add this to our first workflow. And that is simply AI Assistant Start right here. Now, you would use this workflow from your opt-in, whether that's a Facebook lead form or a funnel that somebody fills out to get a thing. Whatever you want to start this thing, that is going to be your trigger. In our case, I think we have an opt-in form that we just built that's in this system, but I'm just going to throw myself in here, and we're going to hit add and see what happens. So there you go. Hey, this is Autobot from Fitness Studio Leads. We saw that you opted in on one of our Facebook ads. Is this Adam? So again, we're just confirming that this person is who they say they are, because who here has ever gotten lead information that wasn't real? I have lots, especially through Facebook. Okay, so let's go ahead and respond. We're going to say, yes, this is Adam. And we're going to start to let this bot do its thing. And once we go through all of this, so guys, there's a little bit of a delay. Great. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions to make sure our service is right for your business? Yeah, go ahead. Who's seen this before? Who has seen an AI bot working properly inside HighLevel? We got Cedric, Gigi. Cool. Ryan, awesome. Okay, are you currently running Facebook ads? Ads on Facebook or YouTube? Mostly on Facebook, because that's what I'm good at. I'll have to hire somebody to do my YouTube stuff. So if you do YouTube, Now, here's the thing. So what I'm doing is I'm intentionally responding dynamically, because again, if we went through that old workflow method of waiting for a proper response, this might not work, but I'm going to start responding a little bit more human-like than asking for a specific answer or question. How do you generate the majority of your leads for your gym? I run a Facebook group called GHL Mastery, and that's where I get most of my clients. Ain't that the truth? Can you book appointments during off hours times? No, not currently. I'm usually asleep. By the way, I didn't sleep last night. Brendan and I were up until midnight finishing this whole snapshot. And then I just got so excited I couldn't sleep. So thank you for letting me know. Do you currently have a manual sales process with sales staff? Yes, we do. Based on your responses, blah, 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 blah. Here's the link to book a call. Awesome. If my ads aren't working, so I said, if my ads aren't working, will your service still work? So I kind of indirectly asked one of the questions that we added to the FAQ. Our service is designed to help you maximize your lead generation and sales, regardless of the current performance of our ads. Our AI solutions and video advertising will help you improve your ad performance and increase your conversions during the strategy call. Our specialists can provide more information on how our services can benefit your gym. What else should I ask? Somebody give me a question that is maybe not part of
I'm going to answer a couple questions in the chat really quick. So Chris asked, what would happen if they didn't answer the question and took the bot on a detour? So we have a prompt in there that says, if it's outside of the FAQs, say that a specialist will be brought on.
Here's a random question. What's your favorite color? I've had this one work and not work. I apologize for the confusion. I'm an AI language model. So we must have removed that in our prompt because we used to say, do not tell anybody that you're an AI.
Yeah, we did remove that.
I don't have the ability to have a favorite color. So this is an example, guys, of like prompting is 99% of the solution. If you can properly prompt your AI, things like this can be properly dynamic. Now we've made it simple. And as you can see, like this right now for this demo is very rigid, right? It only asked the questions that we told it to ask, right? It didn't really go into too much fluff or adding, certain responses and things like that. So it only went into what we told it to go into. You can expand on that by changing a couple of things inside the system. So who thought that was cool? One's in the chat. I think it's cool.
I've got one more question I'm going to answer here. It was from Brian. He asked, how do you add a delay? Is that going to be in the prompt? So no, that's not going to be in the prompt. It's going to be in your workflow itself. So once the AI responds back into the workflow, you can add a delay there. The one we're using right now, because of how it operates, it sends the information to Chat GPT and gets a response. That's naturally delayed.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So if you want to delay in your bot response, you have to just create a wait step before the message gets sent. Okay. Jose just asked the next question. Are we using Zapier? So before I give you my answer, I want to show you guys there's different setup structures depending on what platform you're using. And there's also a couple things to consider in terms of overall cost, like what's going to be cost effective, what's not going to be cost effective, because that will play a role depending on how busy your AI assistant ends up being. And And then I want to talk about the ones that we like the most. So I will get into that, Jose. That's coming right up, but I'm going to show you guys the different structures and setups for the different AI chatbots, why we set them up that way. And then we're going to talk about which method I think is the best method. Okay. So we all know this literally just launched this week, which is why Brendan and I have spent so much time this last week building this and figuring it out. The native AI structure inside HighLevel. Okay, so let's go into that. You can see we've sent a total of 115 messages to try to crack this thing wide open. So this is available to you inside HighLevel today without needing to go ahead.
But that's also like our third or fourth integration. We had to delete because it had this constant loop.
Yeah.
So that's like our fourth copy of that. So it's definitely way more than just those 115.
Yeah. So here is how you set up native Chat GPT AI integration in HighLevel. Okay. First thing you need to do is add a tag. So customer replies has a tag. Now I would even go even further and I would change this to reply channel is SMS. Okay. So that's the only trigger that you need. And let me back up ever so slightly here. The AI assistant start is actually super important, and I should have showed that first. This workflow right here. How are they getting into this system, this structure? What's going on? So we've got a form submission. You could add a Facebook lead form. You could add whatever opt-in, missed call, text back, whatever you want. You could add your trigger here, and this is going to kick this off. So what we do is we send the first message. So, hey, this is your AI assistant's name from your company name. This is the initial message that we set up in that first trigger. And then we need to confirm, is this contact first underscore name? So with this workflow, you obviously need to have their name and phone number at minimum to kick this off. Okay. We add the tag AI assistant. And this is important for the next workflows. Update AI contact fields. So this is going to be required if you are using Zapier or if you are using Pabbly, okay? Because we need to be able to send the prompts to those things. We can't do that through custom values. We have to do that through custom fields. So what this structure is actually doing is it's taking all of your custom values that were set by your form that we filled out, and it's updating custom fields for the contact. So there's an entire folder for each contact that has the prompts built into it for each contact. Okay, so when a contact gets in here, it's got to have all of those custom values updated so that we can prompt the AI appropriately. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? See, one's in the chat if it makes sense, two is if you're confused. Okay, everybody thinks everybody's getting it. We got a bunch of smarty pantses in here.
Now, really quick. This got mislabeled. It's supposed to be Pabbly and native, not Zapier.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because Zapier has the memory key. This one, those are the two need the backup.
Oh, yes, the backup. Okay, so that brings us into this field. This field is required if you're going to use native Chat GPT integration with HighLevel, or you're going to use Pabbly. And again, this will make sense when I dive into those ones. But at the end of the day, what we are doing is we've got a custom field that backs up the conversation that has been had previously. So this is the first part of the conversation. All we did is we took this message and we put it into the AI conversation backup. Okay, that's all we're doing here. And now we're just going to start to keep a record of the conversations that's happening. Okay.
Really quick, I want to cover this because it came up. Why would you have to make the custom values into custom fields? So that was a question just to clarify on why that is because custom values are backend and you can't send those in a webhook.
Yeah.
So that's why we update them to custom field. They're now attached to that specific contact. Now, when that contact gets web hooked out of the system, all of those custom values that are now custom fields go along with it.
And here's another cool reason why that's awesome. You could duplicate the form, and you can literally have a demo system that you can say, hey, fill this form out, and that will be tied to that contact. So everything that they fill out for their AI prompt gets added to their contact, and then you can send them directly into an AI chatbot for their own business. They can literally test it, and it'll be unique for each individual contact that goes in to test your tool.
You just remove the updating custom values on the back end of that.
On that form. So yeah, you'd remove this step right here, and then you can literally have a live active demo AI sales assistant for anybody that wants to try your system out. And it's not going to break your system because it's tied directly to that contact, right? What this does is it's kind of global, right? If you're putting this in place for a business, it's going to be the same for every contact that comes in. And then anytime something changes, it's going to also change their contact as well.
And in a little bit later, when we get into the newsletter, you're going to see the power of why being able to push a custom field to a custom value and a custom value back to a custom field is so powerful.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
We'll
so this is workflow number one. Okay, this workflow is the starting point for every single version. So native, Zapier, and Pabbly. Okay, you have to start like this for all of them, with the exception of you don't need the backup conversation for. I didn't change that properly. You don't need to back up the conversation for Zapier, and you're going to see why in just a second. Okay. I am going to show you the best one first. Okay. And I'm hovering over it right now. Zapier, without a doubt, hands down, is the best way to use the AI chatbot. Okay. And I'm going to show you why right now. So we've got two workflows. So some of you may have seen this already, where Zapier does have glitches, but so does everything else. GG. No technology is perfect. Zapier is the closest to perfect we can possibly get. So you may have seen a lot of people train on, you can just use a single workflow to build an AI bot. We split it up. And the reason that we split it up was because what ends up happening if you do that enough times in a row, HighLevel is just going to shut your workflow off because it's creating a loop. And so you're going to have two triggers in this case, and then an if statement that's going to branch off and go to different directions. We recommend splitting them up because it doesn't create a loop and it won't shut off your workflows. We've had our workflows shut off on us like, I don't know, 10 times this week, just because of that. When we split up our workflows.
Yeah, I think it's any workflow. If you do it over 50 times within an hour,
yeah,
that it will shut itself off. The same contact going through 50 times will shut it down.
Yeah. Okay, so the first step was we sent a text message, we added a tag, we updated a couple of fields, and now we're waiting for the response. So the trigger for this workflow is the reply channel is SMS, and it has tag AI assistant. The reason that we do this is very important. The reason that we want to make sure that it has that tag AI assistant is that AI is not yet perfect. And sometimes your clients may want to stop the bot easily and quickly. So all you need to do is remove that tag and it will stop the AI from responding to messages. Okay, so in your other workflows, maybe they become a client, you don't want them to go through this again. You just remove that AI assistant tag and now it's person to person. Your AI is not going to respond anymore. Okay, so we want to make sure that the reply channel is SMS or email, whatever your reply channel is, and they have this tag. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we are going to send to Zapier. Okay, now I'm going to pull this down here, and here is your Zapier flow. So the first thing is you catch a webhook. If you didn't see that in here, that's the only step. Send a webhook to Zapier. This webhook is going to have all the information on that contact. So who's familiar with webhooks? One's in the chats if you are, two's in the chats if you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, Chris, come on, you know what a webhook is. All right, cool. Mostly everybody knows what webhooks are, except for Chris, apparently, which was in the VIP group, which means we're not doing a very good job in the VIP teaching you anything about webhooks. You're going to catch the webhook, which is going to grab all the information from that contact, including the prompts that you're going to write. I'm going to go click edit draft, edit existing. Now, in this step, there's one thing that you need to have. And let me open it up over here so that I don't get too much. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to open up a new tab. So you need to go to platform.openai.com/apps. And then you need to go to API. I'm in incognito, so it's going to make me do this crap. All right, there we go. Once you're logged into the API backend, you're going to click over here on personal and you're going to view API keys. You're going to have to create a new secret key, copy that key, and then paste it into Zapier. So this is now your API connection. And this has been happening on the daily. So they're constantly updating things on Chat GPT. So you're going to add that here, put in that API key to connect to your Chat GPT account. Now, this is a paid service. Okay, you need to understand that. I think it's like $20 a month for X amount of credits. So this is a paid service, so charge for it. You're going to set the event type in Zapier to conversation. Now, this right here is what sets Zapier apart from all the other systems, is that we can set this to have conversations. Okay, we're going to continue. Why do I need to choose an account? All right, we're going to literally do this from scratch. Now, here's how you're going to set up your action. User message. So this is what did that person say? You're going to use message body in this message. So that is what did the client respond? And that's going to auto-populate user message in here. Who is responding? So what is the person's name? What is your AI assistant's name? So what I should do is actually grab the latest info. They literally just changed this as of last night because this is this is different.
Yeah, wow.
There we go. We're going to use this information. Continue. All right. This is my message body. This is who I am. This is the auto bot. And now here is the prompt. So guys, like I mentioned already, this stuff is 90% of the problem that you are going to face with AI conversational bots. Okay, but here's why Zapier is the best option for all of you. So we've given it this basic prompt. So you'll notice all of the information that is in that custom field is used in this prompt so that it's customizable for any business, any niche, any vertical ever. Now we've set, here's what you're doing, right? Let me just read this. So the conversation started with, here is the backup conversation that we created in that first step. Your response format: acknowledge the user's message naturally and conversationally, ensure a human-like tone, avoid repetitive and formulaic responses, and then apply the rules below to complete your response. With AI, you need to be rigid. You need to tell it exactly what you want it to do. So we start by telling the bot what it's going to do. Next, we say question list in order. So these are the questions that you are asking. Do you mind if we ask you a few questions to make sure our service is right for your business? This is the only one that is not a custom value because we, again, want them to say yes. And then we've got the qualifying questions. The last response, so think of each one of these lines as the next response. So we're literally telling it, this is what we want you to say in order of saying it.
We did try to put numbers in front of it, but it would grab the number also.
It would pull the numbers in and actually say the numbers in the response. So we remove that and we just go line by line, and then it follows this to a T. Okay. We then have an FAQ section. So frequently asked question, answer. And then we give it the rules. So this is telling it who it is, who it's working for, what that company does. So we're training the bot and giving it information, right? Who are you? Who do you work for? What do we do? Your goal is to book an appointment once the question list up here, question list, is completed. If a user's message does not exactly answer the question, but the question asked, but either indicates to book a call or wants to see a demo, skip the remaining questions and provide them with a link to book a free 30-minute strategy call. There's the calendar link. Check the question list to know which question has already been asked. Okay, respond only to the user message with the next question that has not been asked. Remove any narrative-like formats and replace them with more generic conversation structure. The reason that we added that in is every now and then we would send a message to the bot and it would say, Autobot, response, Adam, response. And so we do not want it to have a narrative type response. We want it to be conversational. So that's why we added that there. If the user message contains a question, refer to the FAQ section. Refer to the FAQ answers associated with the questions asked. So these are questions and answers. If the user message contains a question not in the FAQ, respond that a specialist will join the conversation to assist them. Okay, so these are the rules that we have laid out for our bot in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish with it. Okay, your model is GPT 3.5 Turbo. That's the one that we found works well. Now this right here is where Chat GPT and Zapier crush it. This memory key allows you to store a history of the conversation natively in Zapier, meaning you don't have to share the conversation history consistently with ChatGPT for it to know what was previously said. Okay. Max tokens. So how many tokens am I willing to use to send this message? That obviously has to do with how many tokens you have monthly with ChatGPT. Temperature is super important, guys. The higher the temperature, the more flexible your bot will be. So it may throw in some additional things that you didn't tell it to if that number is bumped up higher. The lower that number, the more rigid it's going to be, and it's going to stay exactly on prompt.
So that's why it was so rigid this morning, because we have a low one. If we wanted to give it a little lesser, I mean, we could probably start raising that temperature up 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 until we got that back and forth. We were using 1 to start, and it would start going off script.
Yeah, and it would start asking questions that we didn't tell it to ask, right? So play with this number when you build your chatbot, because this is going to help you to determine, you know, is it going to be more human-like and flexible in its responses, or do you just want it to stay on task and just get the job done? Okay, now let's go and grab.
I want to put a clarification real quick. So the next thing that is on there is called top P. Temperature, top P, change only one, not both. I would leave top P alone and stick with the temperature one personally.
Yeah.
We haven't played with top P yet, so.
So here's why Zapier wins. Let's retest this action to pull in our new information. So here's all of our information, but here's the history of that conversation. So this is literally 1, 2, 3, all the way down to every single question and response that has been sent and received. None of the other platforms do this. Okay, none of them. Zapier is the only one as of right now that does this, which this is why it works the best, because it has a perfect history of the conversation that has already been had, and it knows questions have already been asked, and it doesn't go off of this. We've had a very hard time breaking the Zapier version of the AI bot, whereas the other ones we can break quite easily. Does that make sense? Cool. Now notice the memory key. Did anybody, let's go back up here to action. This memory key right here, what we do when the lead comes in to the bot for Zapier is we create a memory key in a kind of sneaky way. Can anybody guess how we created this memory key inside HighLevel? Just throw it in the chat. Come off mute if you think you know. And if I don't hear anybody or see somebody in the chat in 5 seconds, phone number is a good option. Their phone number is another good option. No, we don't use the phone number. Contact ID, that would also be a good one.
Eric,
Jonathan and Eric. Yeah, you got it. So we use year, month, day, minute, second. And that becomes a completely unique code. You could use customer ID. The reason that we use this custom field is that if they enter the system again, it's gonna keep that memory key. It's gonna keep that number. But if you ever wanted to reset it, you can just reset it and it will reprompt. It'll give them a new memory key later on in the future if you needed it to be reset. So that's why we use that. We started using it with phone number and email and things like that, which works great. But when you're testing this using that structure, you have to come in here every single time and add a number, continue, and test it that way. Whereas when you use a unique memory key that's going to be different every single time, you can put yourself in at the start point. It's going to change that memory key, and then you're having a different conversation so that you can retrain you can keep on testing your bot. So if you do it that way, it works very, very well. So you don't have to keep on editing your Zap in order to have a new conversation. You can just start from the beginning, get a new memory key, and then off you go.
I want to answer Ryan's question real quick. So he asked, will it update both if they come back, or just pull content from the initial memory key? It does pull content from the initial memory key. The only time that the memory key gets updated in our system is the initial workflow. After that initial workflow, they never go back into that because it came from your trigger of whatever they filled out, and then they go into the conversational workflows. So unless they get back into that initial one, that memory key will be stuck to their contact and stay as is. So the conversation will continue to go and grow and grow.
Yeah. And guys, this prompt is super basic, right? We've asked this thing to do one thing and one thing only, right? Have a conversation, book an appointment. That's your job. If you wanted to create different things, and I'll show you an example of that in Zapier. I created one that I gave it very little information, and it was able to create an estimate based on existing knowledge of pricing, materials, and things like that. I didn't give it anything else. So you would create different Zaps for different scenarios, for different prompts.
Can you run through a list of just scenarios you can think of really quickly off the top of your head? Love you.
So missed call text back. We've already talked about that at the very beginning, right? You can either have a rigid missed call text back, so that's the same thing every time, or you can give your bot a prompt to say, filter through these responses every time you fire. So it's going to send a different response every time, and maybe let it be creative with a missed call text back, right? And then you can provide it with the FAQs, and you can provide it with the questions, and it'll start to drive a conversation that way too. So missed call text back is one. Like I said, I built one just in 10 minutes for creating an estimate for a roofing company. And I gave it very little information. And again, now you can get creative. Now that you know this strategy of taking custom fields and entering those into prompts, you can get very creative with how this bot actually functions, right? If we were to take custom values from a company that gives us their pricing, we could input those pricing details into a chatbot, and then it would spit out their pricing, right? Daniel, yes, there will be a recording and a replay, so you will be able to watch this later. Okay, so now that we've got the response, we need to get that response back into HighLevel. And so the way that we do that is an add update contact. We're going to connect it to the right account. So you will have to set this up for each client, which is, I guess, one of the downsides of doing it this way. So you have to duplicate this every single time for every single client. And Zapier is being high-level-y right now. Unless it wants me to reconnect things. No, it should be good. Continue. There we go. Honestly, don't need that. Don't need that. And you just need one or the other of email or phone number, because what that's going to do is it's going to tie it directly back to that existing contact record. Now, if you're doing text message like a missed call text back, phone number, right? You might not have their email at this point. But that's all you need to tie the conversation back to the contact. You then need a second custom field for AI assistant response. And that is where you're going to input the response from Chat GPT. Okay, assistant response message is going to go into this custom field for that client. That's all you need. Phone number, update custom field, continue, and then hit test. Okay, and that's going to bring us to our next section of the workflow. The trigger here, why is that gone? AI response has changed. That is it. That's all you need.
Oh, it clears that every single time. I don't know why. It's still there in the background, but it does clear it every time.
Yeah, there we go. So there you go. That is the second piece. AI assistant response has changed because every time Chat GPT creates a new response and updates that field, that has changed. Next conversation. So you're going to do a text message, and all you're going to put in there is the AI assistant response, and that is going to complete the conversation. Okay. And then it just loops back to the next one. If they reply, it's going into that first workflow we showed you, sending the webhook to Zapier, adding to the history, asking the next question, updating that field, and coming back in here. So it does create a loop, but when we put this all in one workflow, it literally created the loop in the workflow. And then if you do it 50 times, it shuts your workflow down. This method does not do that. So from a high level perspective, guys, this is probably the simplest thing in the world to set up. It's 2 triggers, 2 actions. That is it. And you've got yourself an AI chatbot, which is why 90% of the chatbot functionality is in your prompting. Okay, makes sense? Everybody happy with that? Cool. All right. So Zapier is number 1, in our opinion, in our books, because of that memory key. And if HighLevel ever comes out with a memory key natively, that's going to be an absolute game changer. We'll be able to do a lot of cool things with that. So let's go into native. Native and Pabbly work in similar ways because we need to now control the conversation history and send that over to the AI. So this is where it becomes a little bit different. It's a little bit more advanced in the way that you need to set this up. But let's go into.
We have a couple more rules that we have to apply in the prompting also.
Yeah. So now we're using that same trigger to get them into this, right? So if you get this snapshot later on, you're just going to choose which one you're going to use. You're going to turn the other 2 off because the trigger is the same for all 3. AI assistant tag exists and the reply channel is SMS. We're going to wait for the condition. Is this a new conversation or is this an old conversation? So we have a tag. You'll see right here, AI conversation started. So if they do not have this tag, they're going to go left. Okay. Once they go left, we're adding this tag so that next time they come in, they're going to go right. Make sense? Good. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to back up the conversation. So we're going to tell the AI what has been said so far, which is our initial message that we sent in the first message and the client's response. So let me do this. I'm going to pull out a notepad here and I'm going to show you guys what this is. So here's the initial history, right? So that's our first message that went on in our starting message. And then we add contact name and message body because that's going to collect who sent it, what did they send? Okay, so that's step number 1. Now you are going to initiate your response. So this is where you are going to write the prompt. And this prompting is slightly different. And I will caveat this and say, this does not work every time because the conversation history isn't formatted. It's very difficult to format it the same way that ChatGPT has it with the memory key. So remove all prior conversation history for this contact. So we're just telling it, forget anything you think you know. We're going to tell you what you need to know. Remove all prior versions of yourself. There is no memory here. Okay. You are a highly experienced front-end sales rep for company name, and your name is AI assistant bot name. Only ask
Really?
this.
I don't think we updated this with the Papley one.
We haven't updated it exactly the same, but it's the same concept and idea. This is the first time they're coming into this structure. So we're saying only ask this question. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions to make sure that our system is right for you? Here is your current conversation history. So the first message that was sent and the reply from this custom field. You are responding only to this message body, their response. If the client indicates that they are not the person you are responding to, apologize for the mix-up and let them know that you'll just remove them from the list. So this is important because this is the very first message that's getting sent out. Okay. Now, this is going to create a response. And this is new as of this week. So what you need to do is you're going to send the text message. You don't have to webhook it out. This is all happening internally. And by the way, guys, this happens super fast, like within a matter of seconds. So adding a wait step right here is absolutely prudent because it doesn't seem human otherwise. You're going to go to custom values, Chat GPT, AI initial response, and select response. And that will put in the response like so and send this message. Now what we need to do, and this is again very important, we have another field called AI conversation backup. Now we're taking the full conversation from this field, adding it in here, and then also adding the AI response. We are backing up this conversation. We need to know what was said, how it was responded to every single time. Okay, and now if they come through this workflow again, same tag. This time they will have the conversation AI started tag, and they will go this direction. So now we're going to update the full conversation. We're going to take the backup conversation, and we're going to take the contact's name and the message body from their reply. Okay, again, we're backing this up to tell the AI what was said, what was responded, and how to respond next. This is the current message you're responding to as a front-end sales representative for blah, 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 blah. Now this is where we're giving it all the prompts that we need to run through the conversational booking process. A lot of this stuff is the same. I just need to find where I put. We didn't edit this, did we, Brendan? Because we don't have the full conversation in here.
We didn't play with this one after we got the new prompting system.
Yeah, it's in Pabbly. So basically you would put in here, review full conversation here before responding. You're going to do that. And I'll just get rid of that. And now you're going to take your full conversation custom field, contact, custom field, full conversation right there. Now it's going to create its response, and you're going to repeat the process. So now it's going to be a different response trigger from this AI, and then you're going to back up the conversation again. So you're going to take the full conversation, back it up, add the AI response, and now it's just creating this loop to constantly update the conversation every single time. So if I go through this 50 times, this backup custom field is like this long. It just keeps on going because it's a history of the entire conversation at the end of the day. Who thinks that's easy? That's how you create a chatbot using AI. Simple. Looks like most people got what they wanted. They're all leaving now. So perfect. Okay, I'm going to open this up for questions because there's a lot in there. So what I want you to do, if you do have a question, you can just put up the little emoji hand reaction like this.
Also.
Perfect. So let's answer the ones in the chat. If you do have a question, you want to come off mute, just raise your hand.
Really quick, I was answering Ryan's, so let me answer that really quick. Ryan's question is there a way to know if a Go High Level Chat GPT or Zapier change things? I'd hate to have the chatbot running and it's not working since I won't be monitoring 24/7. So first and foremost, we all know that Go High Level updates things and it's always the worst possible time that they update stuff. So that's the biggest one that you'd have to monitor. On the other side, Chat GPT and Zapier are linked to specific versions. So if something updates there, that's probably fine because they stay with those versions. You would just have to, if you want it on the newer versions, go into your workflows and Zaps and reconnect the new systems. The only reason why your old system would stop working inside Zapier with that ChatGPT version would be if they deprecated it completely out. So that answers that one. Then I got a couple from way earlier. I'm going to have you answer these, Adam. Let's see. We have at the end of the questions asked, can the sales bot be routed to an AI appointment setting bot?
So we haven't figured that part out yet, because you have to interrupt the loop somehow based on a specific response. So you could
put it if it includes the booking link, or if you have a specific, you'd have to have like specific words or things like that, but that's hard to do because the chatbot is very dynamic, and you might not, like, unless you have specific wording that comes back that you can capture and say, if it's this response from the chatbot,
remove the AI assistant tag, and then move it to, I think it's, what is it, Eliza booking bot. So yeah, if you prompt your bot to end the last question with a specific phrase, and it does that every time, it listens to you every time, you can create an if statement based on that field containing that specific phrase. If it contains that phrase, go this direction, start Eliza, right? So as long as you tell the bot that the very last question it needs to ask needs to contain this phrase, then you could absolutely do it. But careful with your temperature on your bot at that point, because it may or may not listen to you. The calendar link being a phrase might be a good one, because either they're going to book it themselves or they're not. And then you can start Eliza to have a chat conversation with them to book it. So yes, that would be how you would do it. And at the end of the day, what you would want to do is you would want to go down this path here and add your if statement right here. So does AI response contain phrase? If yes, go this way. If no, go that way, and they'll re-enter. Does that make sense?
Got a couple more here before we get to Chris's hand up. Eric asks, could you link the learning setup to a PDF instead of using CVs? My answer is no. And the reason,
if you're using Zapier or Pabbly, in theory, yes.
sure,
You just have to do a get function on like a Google Sheet or something like that before the ChatGPT prompt stage in Zapier, so that it pulls in all that data, and then you can use that in a Google Sheet instead of custom values or custom fields.
And then Nikki had asked, can you daisy chain these together if you have several products to have the AI to respond to? I'm thinking of several products in a value ladder, i.e. first lead magnet, second webinar, third course membership, etc. It would be nice if the AI assistant could be something like that.
Okay, so that you absolutely can do that. All you would do is duplicate this workflow. And then all you would do is you would change the tag accordingly. Now, maybe something that we'd have to play with in this case is like, can you do it if they have multiple tags? Can you send a specific response if they have more than one, or they're interested in more than one product?
So what I would do is in the very, very first, their opt-in, when they opt in the form and they get tagged with whatever that form tags them, remove any other opt-in form tags, because then they'll go into that specific conversation sequence. Yeah.
But yeah, this tag is what controls which conversation route that we go into. So for example, when Brendan and I were testing this, we had AI Assistant 2, and AI Assistant 3. And each one of those tags was controlling whether it was going to Zapier, Pabbly, or native. So you can drive the conversation in different directions based on that tag being different.
And then Chris's hand was up next.
Chris, what's up?
it was the question I asked Brendan before, and I think he misunderstood what I was saying. My prompt wasn't good enough. For the Chat GPT account, can you create multiple API keys? Like if you have 10 clients, or do they each need their own Chat GPT account?
So that
I went
question,
to Zapier, not the Chat GPT. Sorry about that. Wrong.
Yeah, no,
Wrong one.
so Chris, if you notice mine, I have a few.
okay, you
Right.
went fast here, so I couldn't see that part.
So you can create as many API keys as you want.
Okay.
If you're using your own ChatGPT account, it doesn't really matter. They're all billing you anyways.
Right.
But yeah, you can create different keys for different clients if you want to. I don't think there's really a reason for it. You can probably use the same key and the same ChatGPT integration for all of your clients because it's going to be unique every single time from the webhook.
All right. Okay, so then essentially I don't need multiple keys. One key can run 500 clients.
Yeah. So everything that we have running through GHL right now is using this one.
All right. And then first grade question here, because I've never used a webhook. I know what it is. You literally just hit get webhook and whatever it creates in that scenario, that's what you're copying over to GHL.
Yeah. So if you want to, I use this analogy because I'm a dad of young kids, so I try to make things simple. Think of a catch hook, like a baseball glove. Okay. When you send the webhook from HighLevel, it is just throwing a ball of information about that contact. Every piece of information that contact has inside HighLevel, and Zapier is catching that ball and processing all of that data.
So the webhook's created in Zapier though.
Webhook is created in Zapier. Yeah.
That's always been my thing, is I've just never created one. So I've never actually used it. Obviously you guys created that custom values updater kind of form from fields to values. So that'd be part of what we'd be buying at the end of the webinar.
Correct.
What would be buying. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then I definitely would be interested if you guys create something where we can have a sales bot to be essentially almost kind of quote a roof, quote anything, quote any type of service, and got to that point.
That's I've already done it once. I didn't spend any time doing it though. I spent 10 minutes writing the prompt for it. I didn't create any values or anything like that with it, but I already know that the answer is yes, it can and it will be done. And we will probably be adding that to estimator tools as an add-on as well. So, because we already have all that data, right, through the custom values. So
last piece, because obviously we want all of their forms of conversations, whether it's a Facebook message, an Instagram message, to go to a chat bot. Could we put all of those up top as a trigger, or would that mess it up?
You could do that. I don't see why not.
As long as basically whatever the intent of those triggers are, if they're the same, then yes. They
would all just be new messages. Because
so here's the gotcha. Here's the gotcha though, because Facebook and Instagram and Google Business Web Chat do not collect an email or a phone number. So if they come in through those reply channels, the first thing you need to ask for is you need to get an email or a phone number, because if you don't have that, you cannot connect the response from the AI to that person. Now, native Chat GPT, you could do that without an email, because you're generating this response directly inside HighLevel and then sending it to them. But if you're using Zapier or anything like that, you would need to get their email or their phone number in the initial conversation before you can fire off to the bot.
Okay, that's good. That I figured there was something in there that it was going to trip it up. All right, cool. Thank you.
Cool beans.
Some of the chat here. I want to answer Rebecca. She has strep throat, so she can't talk today. But her question is really simple: when and where is the recording being posted so she can rewatch and send to her partner? We're going to be emailing this out after it gets rendered.
Yeah. So I have a list of everybody who registered and everybody who showed up. So you guys will be getting this. I am going to be putting this onto a funnel so that you guys will get the link to go straight to the video if you want to watch the recording. I'll also upload it to Loom and send it through Loom as well. So
And Brady
You will
asked,
all get an email with the recording once it is finished rendering.
and then Brady, to touch on the appointment bot again, yeah, you could technically, if the phrase says book now is detected, you could move it to the appointment bot within a different workflow and remove the AI tag.
Yeah,
So if a response
sure.
channel comes in and contains message X, remove AI assist, and now you are going to have a little bit of an issue with that. And here's the got you on that, is you're going to have a race. What I mean by that is it will go into both workflows simultaneously. So what you may want to do is put in at the very beginning of the customer response with the AI tag assist. You might want to put like a 6-second delay or something like that at the very, very beginning of that workflow. Because what that'll do is give time for the other workflow, if it detects book now or something of that nature, to remove it from there.
The other more simple option, this is how Brendan and I work. The other more simple option is you just create that response if statement, like does their response contain book now at the very beginning of the workflow? And if so,
Yeah.
you can either go down a different branch to start the booking, or you can add them to a different workflow to start the booking. But yeah, if you can detect their response says something, well, you can detect that their response is something specific or contains something specific, then you can go down that road. Okay, is there any other questions? Gigi, you've got your hand up.
Gigi and Brian's hands were next.
Okay, Gigi, you're up.
Hi, guys.
We'll do Gigi and then Brian, and then we're going to jump into the newsletter structure that is bonkers.
And so
I can't wait to
anything
see
that's
it.
in the chat, I'm going to pull over, and then we'll answer those after the newsletter, guys.
So I don't know if you guys said this, I'm kind of multitasking here. So question is, I have the lifetime deal for Padly. And I did see the new, integration and all of that. I've been running the bot that I have. I've been doing some database reactivation with it. And using Zapier. The reason I said Zapier earlier, Zapier is glitchy because, over the last month or so, there's been some times it's gone down. Yeah. It's but so I know Zapier is best, but then would you say Padly is next, or basically the native integration and Padly are kind of the same?
I would say that they're on par. They're on the same level. The most important thing with both of those is that you keep the conversation history through custom fields. So
Right.
the same, I'll just show it again, because this does get a little bit confusing, which is why we built it for you. But you need to update the full conversation with the initial message that came in, and then update the backup conversation with the response. So the full conversation plus the response.
Right.
Okay. And then when they reply again, you're updating the full conversation with the backup conversation plus the response. And then you're updating the backup conversation with the full conversation plus the AI response. So you're constantly looping this through to make sure that you're capturing the entire conversation.
Right.
So at the end of the AI response, you will have a full conversation flow every single time.
Okay.
Okay. And that is an absolute must if you want to keep your bot on track.
Okay. I think I've got that part.
That's what Zapier does natively, right? That Chat GPT native. So native Chat GPT and Padly do not have.
And so I'm kind of moving. I just joined your Facebook group, and I've been kind of stuck in. I'm just had a little history. I'm a life insurance agent that is tired of being a life insurance agent, so I've moved over to SaaS and marketing because I've always kind of loved doing marketing. And so my niche was going to be life insurance agents. I feel like it's kind of saturated, however. So I know you guys are into more contractors or what have you, and this could be a conversation for off of this, but is there a niche that you think we could go after in that space that could use like a bot like this, like that would be more attracted to a bot like this?
So the first question that I often ask people that I have a conversation with inside the GHL Mastery Group is like, are you niche down yet? Most people who are just getting started with HighLevel make the mistake of thinking HighLevel can work for everybody. True. But if you don't get niche specific, you don't have the right marketing message, you don't have the right systems in place to serve that specific niche. Every niche is going to be a little bit different. Now, the cool thing about the way that we've built this, you can sell this to any niche and make it work for any niche. The prompting is what makes this work, right? I would say that your target market for anything to do with AI is people who are already running marketing campaigns, right? So pick a business, I don't care. Are they running ads already? How are they responding to, I'll give you a perfect example of this. When I was starting, when Brendan and I started Estimator Tools as a business, I reached out to 3 different lawyers, and all 3 of those lawyers, I filled out a form on their website. Do you know how many of those lawyers got back to me within a week?
Probably none,
0 of them. Do you know how many got back to me after 2 weeks?
probably 1.
Still 0. How many got back to me after 4 weeks?
So
Oh my
he
God.
reached out to them in January, by the way.
0.
Wow.
We still haven't heard back from them.
So they were running ads because I found their websites through the sponsored link at the top of Google.
Hmm.
How much money are those people losing because they don't have something like this in place?
Right.
Those are the people that you should be going after. And a great way to do it is spend their money and opt into their forms. See what happens. Right? If they contact you after 48 hours, you've got a pitch. Right?
Right.
If they contact you in 5 minutes, wow, they're doing a good job. Right?
Right.
But there's a little hack for you. I've done it before.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right, Brian, my man.
Man, you guys are, man, this is like you should have charged like hundreds of bucks for this in particular. This is great. You guys are awesome, first of all. Second of all, in terms of the Chat GPT API codes, is there any way to create multiple API codes and attributes? So say, for instance, you have a few clients and one person is using a ton of, tokens and things like that. Is there any way to kind of, I guess, like filter it or price to charge that back to the clients or anything like that? Or
so
would you suggest creating them?
if you're going to use the Zapier method or the Pabbly method, where you're going to be using the API key, you may want to create individual API keys for those clients because you do have insight into tokens being used by different API keys in the back end of Chat GPT.
Wait.
So the other option would be if you can develop your prompting properly for native, you can automatically turn on rebilling. Obviously, if you're on the SaaS plan, you can rebill 6 cents a message, right? So your default cost is 3 cents per prompt or per response from the AI plus your messaging fees. You can rebill all of that back to the client so that you're not paying for it. I've even considered this since we've started developing this. Like, I might offer this for free. I might just say, hey, do you want to try this for free? You just pay usage fees and crank the usage fees up to 8 times.
10x, 8 or 10x.
Right? And that's how we make our money. This is a free software. You just pay for usage. Right? But that's another way that you could sell this and make a ton of money. So SaaS plan required, obviously. But yeah, you could rebill using the native feature for sure.
Sweet.
Rebilling using the API might be a little bit more challenging and require people, which if you can downsize enough, then do it. So
Sweet. It'd be cool. Like, I'm not sure. I know you guys are doing a billion different things. I can only imagine from all this hard work, man. But if you have, like a little bit of time, maybe even doing like a training on how you may implement that for clients, that might be something really, really awesome that I would really, really appreciate you for. And, tell you I
Cool.
love you even more. I do.
Over the years, Brian, I think you've told me you love me plenty.
My man. Keep killing it, man.
Cool. All right. So we're going to go into the newsletter portion if nobody else has any other questions. So the idea behind this is that how much time are you spending writing your newsletters? What if you didn't have to do that anymore? What if it took you 30 seconds? That you can constantly engage your clients with new content every single month without really having to put the effort in at all. This piece alone took Brendan and I 10 hours collectively, about 5 hours each to put this together. And I want to stress this, and I'm not trying to pump our tires here. But I've seen other people build this and they've made it too simple to the point where it actually won't work properly. The reason that it took Brendan and I 5 hours each to build this is because we thought of every possible scenario, which not a lot of high-level developers do. They don't think of every possible scenario. And so therefore they put in a half-assed product, which is what you're going to get with the vast majority of snapshots that you purchase. A lot of them are half-assed because they don't consider all the outcomes here. So the idea behind the newsletter is that they've got a newsletter sign up on their website. Somebody signs up for their newsletter and it gets sent on the first of every single month. This newsletter is developed 90% by AI using the already existing information that we have about the company from their onboarding form, plus information that they put in to the bot that takes them 30 seconds to update about what's coming next. So what's coming out next month? What are we doing? What are some of the events that we're doing? They add those to those prompts, and then it will update the system. Now, I also have to reference our workflows aren't working properly because HighLevel is being high-level-y. So keep that in mind. We have to do some manual actions here because of HighLevel doing something that it should already be doing on its own.
We
But-
do have a support ticket already, but we all know how that works.
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to see it? Ones, twos, if you are done and you just want to hang up and start playing with this stuff. All right, cool. Let's do it. We got enough ones to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I?
No, you tend to do that though.
I do that sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Okay. With this structure, the only thing that you have to do is when you get a new client, you add that new client to this workflow. Okay, that is all you have to do. So you do have to create a contact record for your new client in the system, and then you add them to this workflow. You should never, ever add a customer to this workflow. That would be bad. Don't do that. That's why it says in big bold letters, internal only. So you're going to add your client to this workflow. So let's go ahead and test it. We're going to put me in there. And I think I have my Gmail account open somewhere to show you guys what happens. So we start with this quick little email. Input needed. Let us know what's happening this month. Now you can pretty this up. We built this at like midnight last night. And then it's going to go to a page. It's going to auto-populate your client's email address and then ask them, hey, what's happening next month? We are running a promotional campaign to new and existing clients starting on July 1st, where they can get 50% off all of our AI bots for life. We are also holding a webinar on July 15th to cover how to set up workflows in its entirety. something like that. So we can add as much to this as we want to. So if they've got events going on, you know, we hired a new executive director named Jamie to help facilitate
Nice.
client support issues. Whatever, right? You get the idea. They can come in here and they can tell the bot what they want to do for next month. These are the things that we're doing. These are some of the updates that we have. It can be as simple or as long and complex as they want. We're going to click the right newsletter. Thank you for submitting this. We will have your newsletter written shortly. Okay, so what that's going to now do, if we look at status, this is where HighLevel is being high-level-y. This should automatically move forward, but it's not. Basically what happens is, as soon as that form gets submitted, we add a tag to this contact that's already in here saying that the newsletter edits have been, or the newsletter information has been submitted. But HighLevel, for whatever reason, fails and then waits forever and doesn't actually send it through. So in case you didn't know you could do this, you can just say, okay, forget waiting for that condition, move to the next step. So HighLevel's got to fix that. Now our AI is writing the newsletter for the company. And it's saying, write a monthly newsletter in an email format for this company. This is what they specialize in. Current relevant information to include in the newsletter is that form that we just filled out, that input for that form. You do not need to include a headline in this email because you'll see we're going to create one from it later on. Limit the character count to 1,000. This was the previous newsletter that was sent. Here was the headline. Here was the body. Do not repeat anything in this previous newsletter. The current month is month right now. Make sure that this newsletter is appropriate for this time of year in location city. Here are some FAQs that people often ask. So we're giving, again, we're just taking all the information that we already have from our AI sales assistant, and we're using it in our newsletter format.
Which all this information right now is from Brady's company.
Yeah, so this is all going to be Brady. We've never seen this before. We have no idea what it's gonna spit out. It's created the headline. I already know that I've gone through it because now HighLevel, come on, there we go. So now I'm going to be in this waiting for newsletter edited tag. So what happened there? I got another email. Newsletter approval required. So this sends out, get 50% off AI bots for life and learn how to use our gym sales with our webinar. Then it sends out the message body, and they need to either confirm or deny that this copy is okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to click confirm right here. We're going to auto-populate the email. We're going to auto-populate the headline, and we're going to auto-populate the body of the newsletter. So they can come in and make some quick edits. We don't need any quotes in here. And I wouldn't say leads. So obviously, as with anything with AI, read it through, edit it. It's not always perfect. Summer's finally here, blah, 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 blah. We're excited to announce that we're running a promotional campaign to new and existing clients starting July 1st, where they're going to get 50% off all of our AI bots for life. Additionally, we're holding a webinar on July 15th to cover how to set up a workflow in its entirety. We also recently hired a new executive director named Jamie to help facilitate client support issues. And then it went into some of the FAQs that people might ask. So let's just say this was all good. We're going to submit the edits right now. And we're going to have that same issue where HighLevel is going to be high-level-y on us, and it's not going to wait. It's not going to push us through that condition right now. They will fix this. And we're going to push it through to the next step. So again, what happens, I'm going to show you the other workflow real quick because it's important. But what ends up happening is, again, we just tag newsletter edits. So based on which form they submitted, we update the values with their new values that they edited. Same. And then we add the tag newsletter edited. So this is the tag that should facilitate them moving, but HighLevel. So we're going to push that through to the next step.
I see what the issue is. The next execution time for it to check for that tag is tomorrow.
Because of the timeout?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, now we're in HTML formatting. So this is another AI prompt that we had to write, because what happens without this is that it doesn't format paragraphs and things like that, because you're updating a custom value to send to everybody in the system. So we again used AI to take that entire structure and reformat it using HTML so that it had the proper spacing, sentence punctuation, everything was laid out correctly. Without that, it shows up the same as this email here, which nobody wants to send a newsletter that looks like that. So we reprompt it to reformat everything in HTML language. Now, this is kind of what makes some of the magic happen here. We're going to do this here first. So we update a custom value. So this is where Brendan was talking about the power of taking custom values and custom fields to work together to make your system do things. Now, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody build a snapshot that does what we do, because we use this stuff all the time for conditional logic in our system. So what we do is we update the newsletter approval custom value to approved. Why do we use a custom value for this? Does anybody know why we use a custom value versus a custom field? Brendan knows, but I'm not going to ask him. You can come off mute and answer because I'm not looking at the chat right now.
Looks like Keith's coming in.
Because it's about the business owner of that sub account.
Correct. We're getting permission from the business owner globally to say that, yes, it is okay to send this newsletter, right? We don't care about the individual yet. We care about the system. Are they approving this newsletter or not? So I'm going to refresh this. We should be through this already. I'm on HighLevel. Don't do this to me now. Okay, we're not gonna sit around and wait for you, unless you're gonna really be HighLevel, and then we have to. Okay, so now after all of the edits have been done, the email has been formatted, everything has been set up and ready to go in our custom values. The newsletter has been approved, everything has been updated to proper HTML format. Your client is then going to go into this step here, which is going to wait until the 22nd of the next month, so that we can kick this off again. So they're going to have a newsletter that goes out every single month, right? And then this kind of, it creates the loop without creating a loop. So HighLevel doesn't get mad at you, is what this does. So we're just going to wait for the next newsletter. Now we've got the AI send newsletter workflow. So this is what's going to go out to all of their subscribers. The form submitted is the monthly newsletter. That's how they get into this. First thing is that they are going to wait until the first of the month. Now, this can be whatever day of the month you guys want the newsletter sent out. So if they send it on the 15th, you adjust the date in the previous wait step and you adjust the date here. And then this will send out the message. Now, here's where we get creative. We take the custom field for that contact and we update it to whatever the custom value is. So if the custom value is approved, that means that this newsletter is good to go. We can send it. Okay, so if this, we're going to update it to whatever the current one is. So it's either going to be approved, pending, or rejected. Okay, so if it's pending or rejected, it's going to go this way. It's going to wait a day. We're going to wait for the approve. We're going to check to see, did they approve it yet? If they haven't approved it yet, we're going to loop back and we're going to wait another day for that approval to come through. If they have approved it, we're going to go and we're going to send the newsletter. So that's how that all works. And then we're going to change the contacts custom field again to pending, because we don't want them to loop back in here and get it sent again. Okay, so let's run through this and show you guys what it does. Test. So first of all, I shouldn't move past this first step because we're waiting till July 1st. I don't want to wait that long on this webinar, so I'm just going to push myself through. And you'll notice that it already went to wait until the 1st of each month, because it went through this instantly. So it went and it approved me because the custom value is approved, goes down, sends the newsletter, changes my approval status to pending, and then it sends me back up to the 1st of the month. Does that make sense? Everybody following? So this shows location name, client logo, newsletter for current month, which will be sent out on the 1st. So this would have been July. And then it formats and writes the body of the email just like that. Another thing that we could add to this, which we talked about last night while we were at midnight thinking about going to sleep, is you could add a newsletter image field in the newsletter prompt that they could actually add an image to it as well. And then it'll actually load that image in there as well.
Another thing you can potentially add as well. We just did the HTML because we were, again, like you said, midnight. Another thing that you can add into the prompt for the HTML to format this is you can add some CSS stuff too, if you understand that stuff. Don't do it if you don't understand, because that can get wild. But if somebody understands CSS, you can add that to it to change your font size, change your line distance, your line heights, change the font itself, make it a specific color, anything that you want.
Yeah. So now this whole thing just loops again, right? And it'll send the prompt to update the newsletter to your client. They can update that newsletter. If they don't update that newsletter, the custom value is changed to pending. So it's not going to send it anymore. And it's going to wait for them to actually submit that thing, update the tag, and then send it. So it's pretty slick. And this took us forever to build because of all the conditional logic that we had to create from a company perspective versus a contact perspective and what has to talk to what. This one alone took us forever. And like I said,
Well,
I've seen people make this really, really simple. At first, we made it really, really simple. And the problem that we had was that everything sucked. The message was very much the same every single time. And so we had to inject an actual input to actually make it different every single time.
And not only that, when Adam first built it and before we got and decided to break it out, he got an infinite loop and got 30 emails in 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. So
is there a way to connect it to MailChimp and pull from their designs? Ryan, that's possible. I don't use MailChimp, so I don't know for sure. But if you can, you'd have to do the whole custom value update custom field thing so that you can webhook over to MailChimp to send the email. But what you'd want to do is newsletter is the one I want. So you'll notice that that's the HTML format for the email that we sent. So if you sent this to MailChimp, again, don't quote me on this because I don't use MailChimp. I'm a high-level nerd. But if you sent this message body to MailChimp in the HTML format, in theory, yes, it could do that.
Rush, come here. Any way to add images? So when we started this off, we were inputting like this, what's occurring this month. You can add an image field to that section and have your customer upload an image and then tie that into, because the email is in email templates that we utilize. So then you could just put an image into that email templates.
You need to do an image and then have that image URL in the custom value in order for it to work.
And so you'd update custom value in the workflow to whatever image URL they submitted. And then that would be linked inside.
So I'll give you an example so that it makes sense. Inside every snapshot that we create, we've got a few of these standard fields. And so we've got company logo URL. All this is it's just stored in the media files, and then we grab the link and we paste it in here. This value is what allows you to take the email template and plug in. So this right here is the actual logo. So we're just using that custom value to display that logo. So that's how you put an image in there. So like I mentioned, this we will be making this update, but if they wanted to put an image right underneath monthly newsletter, all they have to do is update that field, and then we'll have to modify the workflow to update the custom value with that image URL, and then that image will display.
And then really quick to answer Ryan, he has a company who designs really nice newsletters and wanted to use the main body of it and then customize certain sections. You basically take whatever they have designed, and in that template builder that I just showed you, you would just redesign it in there. Would probably be the easiest way to do that. Or
You could also even probably take their HTML and CSS from their existing email and just literally HTML block inside the email, and then just add the right HTML block for our email body in the right place in the HTML code. And it would literally it would be an exact carbon copy of their template with your injected AI into it.
all right.
Awesome. So that's it. We're 2 hours and 5 minutes in. Thank you to the 36 of you that stuck around.
It was a long one.
It was a long one. This was a marathon webinar, and I hope that you guys got value out of this. Like I said at the beginning, we don't do webinars the same way that other people do webinars. Our job and our goal is to educate you so that you can do it yourself. And if you want to save yourself the time and the hassle of rebuilding this, we will have this for sale for everybody on here. So we're going to be selling this for $497. I haven't talked to Brendan about this, but I think I'm going to give everybody here a 25% discount.
I'm fine with it.
And if you're already in the VIP group, you're going to get a 50% discount because we love you guys. And yeah, we want to support you guys as best we can. So it's going to be $497. I will send out a discount code to all of you who showed up. Anybody who didn't show up is not going to get that discount. So if you guys want to buy this snapshot, it'll be $497 minus 25%. VIP folks, you guys will get a different discount code for 50% off if you want to grab this today. Now,
so Adam can't do rough math. That's roughly $375.
Yeah, I let robots do my math for me for sure.
What do you think I am?
The other thing that I want to pitch to you guys, and I don't like pitching anything, but if you want this almost every single week, consider joining our VIP program. There's a few of you guys in here right now that are part of the VIP program. If you guys are comfortable, if you want to come off mute and just tell people about your experience in the VIP, that would mean a ton to me and to Brendan. But what we do in the VIP group is we do these calls every Wednesday and every other Monday, and we basically hop in, not only show you how to do things, but we actually get in there and do these things for you, with you, inside the VIP program to make sure that you guys are doing things the right way. And our goal within the VIP program is to create high-level super users because there's 30,000 plus subscribers in HighLevel, and in my experience, less than 5% of them know what the hell they're doing. And once you know what you can do with HighLevel, you become extremely dangerous and extremely valuable to solving problems for businesses, and you can start to charge more for what you know how to do. And I'll give you an example of that. How many of you guys are SaaS only right now? Just ones in the chat if you are just doing SaaS for companies.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing Chris. Chris has been one of, I guess you could say, yeah, he's an OG and he's kind of one of the star pupils. He jumps on the webinars or on our weekly training calls and
hand up immediately.
Before his audio has even rendered to where he can hear us, his hands up. It's amazing. But yeah, he's screaming in the background right now because he thinks everybody needs to be in the VIP group. But
so if you're doing just straight SaaS, the VIP group it'll help, I think. it'll help. But really, when you're doing SaaS, the MRR is amazing. It's great. You should always have a SaaS offer. But what we have started to move into is actually doing custom builds for people, where we're no longer charging $297 for a software. We're charging a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 build plus the software. And when you understand what you can do with HighLevel, I've always said this, that there's nothing, if you can think it, HighLevel can do it. You just have to know how to break all of these things apart and put them all together. It's one of the most powerful softwares out there. Nikki, you've got your hand up. What's up?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to join the VIP group.
Brennan just posted it in the chat.
She's on her
Okay.
phone, so it might, when we send out the recording, Nikki,
Okay. Yeah.
we'll make sure and put a link in there also so that you can go over to join our VIP group as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Thank
the,
you.
the VIP group is $197 a month currently.
It's currently $197. We say that because it used to be $97. We have updated to $197, and I do know that in the future we're going to be updating that again to a little bit higher pricing. So
Yeah, we're adding a lot more to it: sales training, sales resources, snapshots, the like, that you guys are going to get in the VIP. So yeah, it's if you want to know the URL, it's agency.estimator.tools/join VIP. And that is how you get in. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys there. I am not a hard-nosed salesperson. I will be sending out the link if you want to purchase the AI assistant snapshot. I'll be sending out that link in the email. Those of you that showed up will get a separate email, because I'm not sending the discount links to anybody who did not show up. You'll get a separate email. VIP folks, you will also get a separate email with a different promo code to get the discount.
I still have 2 questions left up here. I want to get to them before we get anywhere else. So Scott Robinowitz, I want to say, I know I'm Polish, but at the same time, some of those names.
Scott's a VIP here.
Yep. Are you going to discuss the new AI GHL released and exactly what it does or does not do? We did kind of cover that at the beginning of this.
Yeah, so Scott, the new GPT integration with HighLevel is similar in its limitations to Pabbly, which we showed a bunch. So when you watch the recording, go find the right spot. You need to back up the conversations in order for it to have an intelligent conversation, because it needs to know what it said, what the response was, what it said, what the response was. Whereas Zapier does that natively with the memory key. So that first native function we showed when we were showing the workflow. So I skipped Pabbly because Pabbly and HighLevels are very similar. The only difference is that Pabbly has a webhook, but the prompts are the same.
One thing that I forgot to mention. So another thing that we did, we threw everything into a Google Doc, all the prompting that we have for Zapier and for native and for Pabbly. We threw that into a Google document. That's going to come with, if you decide to purchase, that's going to come with the snapshot as well, so that you'll have that aspect there also.
Yeah, you'll have all the prompts for each one in that document.
And then Nikki had another question here. If the contacts are coming through from an affiliate who has a referral link, can Zapier catch that as well? Adam, you deal with affiliate. You've had an entire affiliate system tracking inside Go HighLevel, so I'll let you cover that.
Okay, repeat the question. If somebody has an affiliate link.
So if somebody comes into, this would be from the sales bot. So if somebody comes in the sales bot system and has an affiliate, came through an affiliate link, will that be passed over to Zapier as well as that aspect?
So not currently, but you absolutely can do that. The best way to do that is, I have, who asked it, by the way?
Nikki did.
Nikki did.
I
Okay,
did.
So Nikki, I have a YouTube video that I'm going to send you on how to capture affiliate URLs on like a booked appointment, because really affiliate URLs only work on product pages, right? So it only really counts if it's done through a product purchase.
Okay.
but I have a YouTube video showing you how to do that outside of a product page, where you can store the affiliate URL inside the system. And then once you've stored it inside the system, you can send that through the prompting.
Great.
So
Thank you.
you'll have to modify it slightly to add that custom value or that custom field when it's sent. But then, yeah, once you've got it, it's good to go.
And this is why
Thank
I had you answer it, because I knew you had a YouTube that already covered affiliate links and how to capture that and move it in the system.
Yeah. Nikki, shoot me a message on Facebook as soon as you
Okay.
get off this call, just to remind me to do that, because I gotta go build the emails to send you guys all this stuff and get the recording uploaded and things like that. So I may forget if you don't message me. So awesome. Any more questions, or are we going to shut this bad boy down?
No questions, but I love you guys. Thank you. This is fantastic.
We love you too.
Hey, another huge thing, if you guys don't mind, maybe I'll give you an extra 5% discount. If you comment in the GHL Mastery group about this webinar and how killer it was, I might give you an even bigger discount code for the snapshot. So just a little do it.
Right, on my way. I got
it. Awesome. And yeah, this recording, just so you guys are all aware, I will be cutting this recording a little bit, but this will no longer be free to anyone else. This is going to be going through a paywall if somebody wants to get this recording. So thank you guys all for showing up. This is awesome. This is the first GHL Mastery webinar that we've ever run. So thank you guys for all taking the time out of your day to be here with us. And hopefully you guys learned enough that you can be dangerous, but not enough that you still want to purchase our snapshot. All right. Thanks, everybody. We are going to call it a day. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.
See you guys.